So I woke up this morning, and I had had a dream last night, and it was about people talking about what I had said last Thursday at InterVarsity. I gave this big talk. I feel like uh, it's going to change the direction that we're going in a lot of ways in InterVarsity. And so I have this dream, right? And people that were there are talking to people that weren't there about what happened. And they're saying some crazy stuff. One student was saying to another student, we're going to completely scrap everything we're doing in worship and change everything and do all completely new songs. I had one student telling the other student in my dream, I'm never going to go back because he brought up some really uncomfortable issues and I don't want people talking about this stuff. It's too uncomfortable, it's too hard. I had another student in my dream telling another student, we're going to go to Thailand and we're going to solve the issue of human sex trafficking. And a lot of these things. So when I woke up, I felt like I was supposed to redo the talk online, put it online, offer it to people that weren't there, and maybe people that were there and can't remember what I said, and maybe are confused about what I said, so that people really know and understand the directions that we're going to be going in within InterVarsity, which are different, but I just want to make sure that we're all clear on the things that are happening. Now, these last 2 weeks that I've been speaking starting this semester have all been in response to this warning, right? This warning that a lot of students have been sensing from God, that they've been sharing with me. I felt it confirmed in my heart. And the warning is that we are in danger as a group of slipping into neutral. You know, we've been going forward, even since I've been here for the past couple years. I've seen great things happen that have never happened before in this chapter at NAU. But the danger exists that we would become stagnant, that we'd become complacent. The word that keeps coming up is that we'd be in neutral. And so the series that I've been giving is called Avoiding Neutral. And the first week I told you in no uncertain terms that I refuse to do that. That I will not slip into neutral. I just refuse. And I began this call to people that feel that same way. A call out of complacency, of stagnation, of neutrality into forward motion. So my first talk was about returning to our first love. I used Jesus' words in Revelation where he talks to the Ephesians and he says, I'm proud of what you're doing a great job. The one thing I have against you, you love other things more than you love me. And so the call that first week was to put aside those other things and to say yes to God, to say yes to Jesus, and to say, I'm going to do whatever you call me to do. That was the first week, that we would return together. Actually, that we would return personally to Jesus. And I got to tell you that was an easy talk for me to give. That's my element. You know, I love giving talks about personal repentance, about getting serious about God, and I really felt like when I was giving that talk, this is the kind of talk that I was born to give. I love talking like this, and I love getting the responses and hearing the responses of people that return to their first love throughout the week, even telling me that it was really impactful in their lives, and I really like that. This talk that I gave last Thursday and the talk that I'm going to give right now is not my element. It's a lot of big, difficult things that I'm not used to talking about and that I haven't talked about before. They're unfamiliar, they're difficult to talk about, and they are not in my element. And I've avoided talking about them because, pretty much because I'm a wuss. And because I like to talk about things that are in my element. But not anymore. I'm not going to be avoiding them anymore. You know, what I talked about that first week, returning to Jesus, that's really vital. That's really important, and I wouldn't have started the semester with that talk otherwise. But it's just the beginning. And if this word is true about us being in danger of going into neutral, I think we're going to have to go beyond just feeling like we need to get back to Jesus, being awakened to our problem, and feeling like we need to change, right? It goes beyond determination, even, to change. I think we need two additional things, and that's what I want to talk about tonight. One is that we need healing from Jesus himself, and the other is that we need to do something new. We need to take a risk. And so, this second part of the talk is avoiding neutral and the title is Risk. That we need to make big risks together. And I think the healing that Jesus wants to give us and taking a risk, those two things go hand in hand. And so on Thursday we took a look at this passage, and you can look at it. I'm not going to go into it in great detail right now. It's from John 5, 1 through 11, where this dude is sick. And he's been sick for 38 years. He can't walk. And he's been like that for almost 40 years, and Jesus offers him healing. And the way that it kind of plays out in this passage is this guy doesn't even know what to say, because healing is so foreign to him that he doesn't even say, yes, I want healing. And it's my belief that he's in his element, in his sickness and in his lameness. He doesn't even realize that healing is an option, and so he doesn't take it at first. When Jesus offers him the healing again, he says, get up, pick up your mat, and walk. And then the man responds to that. He takes this huge risk, an impossible, miraculous risk. He gets up and he walks. And I think he stands at an intersection in that passage where he has a choice to make. He really can continue to stay in his element, continue to sit there with the people that he's become comfortable with the disease that he's become comfortable with, or he can make a huge decision to take a risk, to stand up even though he hasn't done so in 38 years, to pick up his mat and walk just because Jesus said that he should. He didn't have to do that. He did, and he received his healing. And I believe we're at that intersection right now in the history of our chapter. We have a choice to make. And I'm convinced that our healing in this issue of neutrality will not be complete until we take a big risk together. In fact, that healing won't even exist at all until we take a big risk together. Until we look back and say, these are some of the things that God has been telling us to do that we haven't done yet, and we need to do them. Until we say, we're going to give up a little bit of our element, the things that we're comfortable with, and do the things instead what Jesus is calling us to do, something we've never done before, something that's going to be extremely difficult, a leap of faith. And watch how God heals us in that process. And so I believe that there are two risks in particular that God is calling us to do. And I talked about them at length on this past Thursday night. I'm going to talk about them here online so that you know what they are. Now, I said this on Thursday and I'm going to say it again. I don't believe that these are my ideas and my ideas alone. I'm not going to tell you solely that these are things that God told me to do. In fact, I think sometimes that's used in an abusive way. That people feel something strongly, and so they'll use God told me this to get people to do what they want them to do. And that's not what I'm going to do. The truth is, He has been working things in my heart concerning these things, but for better, for worse, that would not have been enough for me to give the talk that I gave on Thursday night, for me to do this right now. I believe, and I know, that the things that I'm about to present are results not only of God telling me, right, that we're supposed to do it, but of hundreds of hours of discussion, of prayer, of back and forth, of discerning what's best for our chapter, and what God is leading us to. And so, I just needed to get that out of the way, that this isn't something that I thought up, but it's something that many people have been feeling like this is the direction that we need to go in. It's time to take a risk. On Thursday night, the discernment team, which is a group of older students who pray for the chapter and discern where God is leading us, got up and prayed for me to show their support. And it was very special to me. This isn't my idea. This is a lot of people's ideas from many, many hours of prayer and discussion and discerning.